Okay, interview with Toshi, take one.
Hello.
In this issue, we have a very good friend of mine, fantastic guitarist here in LA, Toshi Yanagi.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Toshi Yanagi.
Toshi is one of the great guitarists in LA now, and he's played with a ton of people here in town, and he's also the guitarist for the Jimmy Kimmel Show.
Jimmy Kimmel Live. Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel
Toshi.
Live, and that's a big TV show for anybody that's not familiar with that. They're in Germany.
ABC. Network.
Yeah, and he also plays with the band ABC.
ABC from
Yeah.
Germany. From England.
From
yeah.
England, yeah. If you look into Toshi's career, it's been quite amazing. Now, we've known each other for like 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
32
years.
32 years or something. We went to school together.
Yeah.
And the reason I want to have him on this interview, which is a very important interview for the readers of Drums and Percussion, since it's the last video, that we're having here. It's an honor to have Toshi with us because he's such a great musician, and he's become really a fantastic musician. And I think it's important to get his point of view, not from a drummer's standpoint, but as a musician looking at the drummers. You know what I mean? Because if you remember the last issue, we had an interview with Joel Taylor.
Okay.
And we talked about the chasm between drummers that were like sitting in their room or playing only on YouTube, and the difference between them and playing an actual musical situations, with musicians. And it's a whole other skill that you have to develop, not only technique, paradiddles and stuff like that. That's like the surface of drumming, although it's such an important thing, but it's like the surface. So I think one of the most important questions for Toshi now is, okay, you,
Me.
as a musician,
Yes.
what do you like to hear from drummers?
Well, basically, it's an ensemble, right?
Mhm.
Like between musicians, we listen to each other and try to connect to each other, and that's what people wants to hear, not necessarily techniques, it's more like an ensemble of music, just making music together. That's very important
Yeah.
to me, and especially drummers. Like a great drummer makes everybody sounds good,
Right.
and listen to each other. Always on top of the situation. Sound, of course, you gotta play like you said. That the surface technique that's important. Like you gotta have it to begin with.
Right.
That's why you practice. Right? And another thing is like to listen to each other, compliment each other. That's what I look for the drummer.
Now Toshi has played with some of the biggest name drummers in the music world, and so he has a really good idea of what works and doesn't work. So in your opinion, what is a good sound? Like you mentioned, getting a good sound. Yeah.
And if there's the one drum set, different drummer plays sounds different.
Sounds different, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have your own voice. Even the drums,
Right.
It's different than between different drummers. That's really surprised me. Over the years, And,
Now, this is something super important, guys. It's something I harp on all the time. That means I talk about it all the time. without being able to play in a band. Like before, there were so many clubs and situations,
Sure.
and it was more common to be in a band.
Yeah.
You know, what would you do now to develop that skill without having that opportunity to play in a band or many bands?
That's a good question because I don't know how to do without playing with other people.
Mm.
Maybe find the next door neighbor and reach out people and just find somebody and try to jam with some guy or yeah, create a little go to the party and play. You know, I don't know. Yeah, just to you got to play with people. You got to play with other people because you can't. I don't think it's possible. I don't know.
Well, that's a question that's very difficult to answer, and we were also talking about this with Joel and many other drummers. I mean, and you know, I've asked a lot of drummers, famous drummers, and you know, legends, and you ask them certain questions like this, they're like, I don't know, you know, I just do it. You know, they say stuff like that, which is very interesting because it's like a lost art form, you know, playing in musical situations where you need other people. It's a communal art form after all. It's not,
Totally.
Yeah, it's not like painting when you sit there by yourself.
No, yeah.
You know, so
You need to have the skill to
Yes.
begin with, like what we were saying, but
Yeah.
to make a music, you kind of have to work with other musicians.
yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
What would you say about developing good time for
Time.
yeah.
For you drummers,
Mm.
time is the most important thing. Yeah, and feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess listen to James Brown. I don't know, just yeah, different music. You listen to a lot of music and maybe play with that music. You know, just
Different styles.
styles. Yeah.
Yeah, good. That's a great answer because we've talked about that before in the magazine. Like the more you can exercise your muscles to feel time in different genres, then the deeper your pocket gets. You can feel if you just feel in 4/4 all the time. It's like you that's like your maximum skill 4/4 whatever.
Is it straight or swing?
Yeah.
You know, swung, whatever. You know,
Right.
that alone is just so different.
Right,
And
right, totally.
Shuffle, whatever. Yeah.
What would you say that are the things that some of your favorite drummers do? Like, what do they do on the makes you go, yeah, it's great.
Sometimes the simplest groove is the most, how to say, you can groove with.
Mm-hmm.
That excites me sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, then the whole thing is going together.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
and time to time, and in the right place, like this kick-ass fill comes in, like what you do, you know. It excites me, like yeah, you know.
That's very interesting. From a drummer's perspective, what that means is basically, if let's just go moment by moment here. If he's talking about fills, I mean, the thing is there's an incredible amount of fills you can do. The thing is putting it at the right time.
Yeah.
You know, and that time is, as we said before, has to do with musical structure. So if you put it if you have like an 8-bar structure, let's say, real simple, and you put a fill in the second bar, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You know, it's common kind of knowledge, but something that maybe we don't get told. You know, we're starting out, and then the 8th bar comes up and we do no fill. We just keep playing through it. What just happened? You know,
Yeah.
leaves everybody confused. So that's what that means. As far as the time thing goes with Toshi, he says listen to James Brown, and he also made this motion, you know, make everything go forward, which is very interesting. because how do you make the music go forward? What would you say?
That's what you guys have to create when we are on top of it.
Yeah.
So when the groove has to be right and in the right feel, and then we can dance on top of you.
Mm.
I feel good about that always. You know,
Mm. So
great drummer get your record deal. I mean,
true.
I don't know if there's a record deal kind of
Yeah,
thing anymore,
yeah.
but yeah.
Anyway, Buddy Rich used to say that too.
Yeah.
A great drummer can make your band or break your band. Bad
Right,
drummer
exactly.
can break your band.
Right.
So, I mean, these are things I think that we as drummers in the community now, you know, we don't get to talk about this a lot because it's hard to verbalize and it's also risky, you know. So I'm very grateful for Toshi and Joel and all the guys that have been on these videos, because it kind of puts you out there in a way that you're maybe not used to. You know, it's like your most deepest musical thoughts or feelings, you know, are exposed in these situations, and there's not a lot of guys that are willing to say these things actually.
That's how we make a living.
Mm.
You know, make music and you
Right.
get paid. And if you play out there, like, you know, create a social media content and getting paid, that's great. And you don't have to listen to us, you know.
Mm.
Whatever. But if you guys want to approach our way, you gotta have to play with people and just develop that skill.
Yeah.
And to get a gig is another thing, you know. You gotta work with people too, right?
Right,
So
right.
anyway, but you have to
Well,
create that.
yeah, that's another thing that's very interesting for you know, every musician. I think, like, you're one of the most working cats in town in LA. Okay, that's like so hard to do now. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can get an idea of how difficult that is to accomplish in a place like LA. So, what advice would you give, like, drummers starting their career? What should they do to start getting that flow of gigs, and how to get gigs and stuff?
How to get gig? Always for me, it's go to different clubs, meet people, and maybe go to jam session and play with different players. And if you are, don't be an asshole. You know, just be a nice guy. You know. Then if there's a situation that comes up and like, hey, there's that guy, nice guy, he could play, and maybe we can call him. That's where it all started for me.
That happened to you many times.
Yeah.
From what I know of you and your career. I mean, I was there when you started playing with a certain band. There's a band that Toshi was playing with. It was super popular. Play at the Baked Potato all the time, and everywhere. And people actually saw him playing in that band, and that band gave you a lot of it's like a springboard.
Sure, and different. That gig leads into different gig, and that leads into that.
Yeah. So it's very much, as you notice, the old way of doing things.
That's the old way.
Yeah, that's the old way, man. That's the OG way.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to now where people take the approach of going to social media first.
Maybe, I don't know if that works, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know either. I've seen drummers that get gigs because of their social media presence, obviously, and but in the cases that's happened, you know, I always see this chasm, you know, this lack of experience playing live,
Yeah.
you know, which is a bit strange.
That you have to develop for experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the experience.
Now, what would be any last piece of advice that you would give a young drummer out there?
Don't quit. Keep playing. And that's what I did. I didn't stop. So far, it worked out for me. But I don't know. It's a new generation, you know.
Yeah.
So
Times have changed too.
yeah. So I'm not sure. But always a different generation has different holds
Yeah, yeah.
doing things, and so you gotta believe in yourself and just go that path, you know,
Mm.
and yeah, be a nice human being, and yeah, be good to each other, and just
Yes.
yeah,
That is such a major part of things, especially in a place like here or New York.
if you throw a rock at it, there's a ton of
Yeah.
musicians
Yeah.
there, or actor.
Or actors or writers or whatever.
Right.
So in a place like this, you know, social skills are so
Yeah.
huge. You know, it's such a huge part of it. No,
Very important.
yeah. No matter how good you are, if you don't have a good social skills,
Yeah,
you know.
unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Toshi is very good. He's very loved in the music community in Los Angeles. So yeah, coming from a guy that does it all in one of the most difficult towns in the world, I hope you enjoyed this interview.
Keep doing it. There's a helicopter there, but keep
Yeah.
doing it.
You know, there's an old saying. A real old jazz guy told me one time. It's like playing with other musicians. It's like having a really deep conversation about the history of each other's lives, you know, but without the words. Because in the process of playing together, you discover so much about a person, their discipline, their focus, their ability to communicate, to listen, and to talk, and when to listen. It's like a very intimate thing, you know,
Yeah.
which also can be scary for some people to let somebody in, you know, musically, to expose yourself to. That can be scary, and that's possibly another reason that we have such an like the music scene has imploded into itself. You know, these are all things that. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah. I try to enjoy. you
Yeah,
know. I try to
I think that's the
enjoy
key. Yeah.
your life story,
Mm.
which is I'm not gonna get into it. no, but I enjoy your groove, and like you feels and all that stuff, and I try to accompany each other, and it's cool. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, guys.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Toshi. And well, that's my interview with Toshi. I hope you enjoyed it.
But maybe, hopefully, in the future.
In
Maybe
the future,
you do it again.
Yeah.
Somewhere else. But
you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yes.
All right, guys.
Peace out.